All right, here we go. Good morning, everybody. This is a bit of a odd one, isn't it? We haven't done a morning stream in quite some time. I believe it's been at least a week or two since we've done a morning stream. And you know what? I figured, hey, we might have streamed last night, but why not? Why not? Let's do a morning stream. People love the morning streams. We don't get to do them often, so anytime we can kind of fit them in the schedule, I try to do that. I try to do that. Ghost first in chat. I knew you'd be here. I knew you'd be here. This is your time. How you doing, Ghost? Sky second in chat. How you doing, dude? Welcome. Today, guys, we're going to be talking about not doing what your anxiety tells you to do. Right? So always doing the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do is going to be the key to recovery. You have to take different action if you want different results. We've been talking about that a lot here recently. So stop doing what your anxiety tells you to do. Basically, do the opposite. That is going to be the topic of our morning stream here. I have not been to bed yet. I'm just going to throw that out there. I have not been to bed yet. So I may not be like energy level 12 this morning, but we're still going to have a good stream. I can feel it. Mint, what is up, Mint? Good morning. Doubling down. Yes, sir. Like I said, you know, we don't get a chance very often to do morning streams, but anytime we're able to, people seem to love them and really enjoy them. So I wanted to fit one in today because it's been a while. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Hope you're doing great. It's 1 p.m. Here in the UK. It is, what time is it? 8 a.m. for me. 8 a.m. for me. Hell yeah, my time. Good to see you, Ghost. Good to see you. Good to see you, Sky. Carrie, everybody, welcome, welcome. I'm gonna have to get a new headset soon. The mic part of my headset is always like falling down. I don't know how to describe that. It doesn't want to stay up. Let's see. Nightbreed. Pretty much, dude. Pretty much. You got that right. Alright. I don't want to wait around too long before we get started, but I do want to give everyone a fair shot to get in here if they want to watch us live. 10 p.m. here. Yeah, so I mean, I've still, you know, I've been up pretty much all night. Alright, let's make sure, before we get started, let's at least make sure that the Discord bot put out our notifications. It's been weird recently. It has been weird recently. Alright, notifications. Yes, okay. It worked. We're good. What is up, Amanda? Good morning. Hope you're doing well. So let's go ahead and get started, guys. Having activated gag reflex today, been a long time since, to my absolute terror. I'm trying to approach it with more main keys than the previous times, at least. So this will be a good one for you. Mint. APC, what is up, dude? Welcome. Hope you're having a good morning. So let's get into it. No reason to wait around any longer. Let's get into it. All right. Anxiety recovery. Good morning, everybody. Stop doing what your anxiety tells you to do. Okay. So I want a show of hands in chat. Let's get a show of hands in chat. When that anxiety gets really super strong, right? When that anxiety gets really intense, when those intrusive thoughts are really intense and they're going a mile a minute, and you are just what we call full-blown triggered, right? What is the first thing that most of you do? How many of you do kind of what the anxiety tells you to do? And by that I mean your anxiety gets super intense. So the first thing that you want to do is run to your coping methods, or the first thing that you want to do is run to your compulsions, right? So essentially you're doing what the anxiety wants you to do. The anxiety is intense, so you want to change the situation, stop the situation, escape the situation, basically do something in order to make the anxiety stop. Therefore, you are doing what the anxiety wants you to do. Now, this is trouble, right? Obviously, this is trouble. When you do what the anxiety wants you to do, you are basically reinforcing to the brain that these danger signals are needed. You say to the brain, hey, I need you. I need these false alarms. So let's give an example, because we absolutely love examples here. Amanda says, I just stay on my couch, right? So she freezes up. She just runs to the couch, right? So there's a ton of different examples of what a coping method or compulsion is, but that was a good one. She just runs to the couch. She stays on the couch. She's doing what the anxiety wants her to do. So ton of different examples. Let's make one up in our heads real quick. Let's say, for example, you're extremely triggered, and the first thing that you normally do when you're that triggered is to put down whatever it is you're doing. Like, let's say you're watching a movie, right? You're trying to enjoy a movie with your boyfriend or your girlfriend. You're watching a movie and you feel that intense anxiety, and the first thing that you want to do is get up, get away from the movie, and go to the bathroom. I don't know. Oh, I run to the bathroom so I can collect myself, right? Some people call it that. I got to get away so I can collect myself. You're essentially doing what the anxiety wants you to do when you go that route, and you are reinforcing to the brain. You are basically speaking the brain's language, and you are saying to the brain, okay, there was a real tiger in that situation, and you gave me an alarm. You saved my life because I got out of the situation. I ran to the bathroom. So thank you for that. Please continue to keep my anxiety levels high in the future, right? So indirectly, when you take the anxiety's advice, and in our little example here, run to the bathroom, you are indirectly programming the brain to keep your anxiety levels high. So the next time you are in a similar situation, maybe you're just minding your own business and watching a movie again, you can almost guarantee that the brain is going to assume that that danger is real, and you'll probably get another false alarm. Now, you see how this becomes a pretty big problem in the grand scheme of things when you live your life this way, when you live your entire life this way, to the point that you are doing everything that the anxiety wants you to do, and you are never going against it. You are just completely doing what the anxiety wants you to do. Every single time the anxiety is there, you are doing what it wants you to do. Now, there's a million different compulsions and coping methods that exist, and it's not hard to figure out what yours are. It's not hard to figure out what yours are. When we say positive accepting behaviors and live life here on the channel, what do you think that means? You can't continue to still do your coping methods and compulsions and all that stuff and expect true change. When we say positive accepting behaviors, that means you have to drop that stuff and go against that stuff. Now, you're not going to feel like doing that, because that's going to put you outside of your comfort zone, right? But if you don't want to continue sending the same I'm in trouble messages to your brain, then you're going to have to live differently. There's really no way around that. So, behaviors is the language of the brain. Now, if you want to make the most progress that you can possibly make, and you're all very capable, but if you want that, you have to stop doing what your anxiety tells you to do. So next time you are extremely triggered or anxious and the anxiety says, like I said, there's a million different examples of coping methods. They're not hard to discover what yours are. Just think about it a little bit. You'll start to put it together. Let's give another example. Let's say next time you're extremely anxious, you are used to immediately picking up your phone and Googling your symptoms. Like, that brings you some relief, right? And that's an important thing to mention too. Your coping methods and compulsions probably do bring you a little bit of relief, maybe. Maybe it's gotten to the point for you where they don't bring you any relief and you're just doing them out of habit. But they might bring you a little bit of relief. So you're extremely anxious, and as soon as that false alarm hits, as soon as those bells start to ring, you grab your phone and you go to Dr. Google, right? What do you think your brain's going to start to assume? It's seen that you were just watching a movie before it set off the alarm. And then it's seen that when it set off the alarm, your behavior completely changed. You got really defensive, and you grabbed your phone and you went to Dr. Google, right? It's going to see that. It's going to see that change of behavior. Somebody said, they run to the bathroom when they're shopping or whatever, when they get extremely anxious. So here's how that works. You're just shopping. You're doing your shopping. The anxiety sets off the alarm. It gets too intense for you, and you run to the bathroom. The brain literally says to itself, hey, they were shopping. I set off the alarm, and they took advantage of that alarm, and they ran away. Oh, my God. They must have been in trouble. I'm doing my job right. Let's remember that. Right? So you're literally programming your brain. You are teaching your brain how it should behave with the choices that you make. So if you want to make the most progress that you can possibly make, you have to go against what the anxiety wants you to do. Now, the reason people get kind of caught up on that is because that is going to require you to go against anxiety's advice, which is not the most comfortable thing in the world to do. You are convinced that if you run to the bathroom, for example, that you are going to be safe. You are convinced that if you do these little coping methods and compulsions, you are going to be safe. That's why you do them, right? So to purposely and consciously go against that is not the funnest thing in the world to do. It's not the most comfortable thing in the world to do, right? But you have to do it. You have to do it. You have to go against that anxiety's advice, right? You have to go against that anxiety's advice. Somebody said sound went low. Just turn it up. I haven't made any changes, so you should be okay. You have to go against that advice. Really, there's no other way around that. So, yes, it's not the most comfortable thing in the world to do because your compulsions and your coping methods bring you some sort of, relief. It's not the most comfortable or fun thing in the world to do because you feel like doing these compulsions make you safe, right? Right? So going against anxiety's advice is not necessarily easy, it's not necessarily fun, and it's not necessarily comfortable, but it's not supposed to be any of those things, right? It's not supposed to be any of those things. So when we talk about the two main keys and we say, okay, try to have that accepting attitude instead of mentally working yourself up, right? Try to just have the accepting attitude instead, remind yourself of what you're in it for, and then live your life. When we say live your life and we say positive behavior, that means to get rid of the compulsions, to get rid of the coping methods and do things you want to do. That essentially means you have to start going against anxiety's advice. So in that moment where anxiety is very high and you're wanting to run to the couch, for example, you have to be able to resist that urge, and you have to say, you know what, I'm going to stay wherever it is you are, I don't know, doing the dishes, whatever. I'm going to keep doing this thing instead, right? I'm going to make the conscious choice to go against what my anxiety wants me to do. I am going to stop doing what my anxiety tells me to do. It's not supposed to be fun, it's not supposed to be comfortable, but I know that my brain is watching, and that was something that I would often remind myself of back in the day. I would often tell myself, hey, your brain's watching, because I would be so tempted, guys, sometimes to get up and run to the couch or run to bed or call a friend, and say, oh man, I'm freaking out, or whatever it is, all these compulsions, all these coping methods. I would be so tempted to do them sometimes. It was ridiculous how tempted I was at times, right? But you got to remind yourself, hey, my brain's watching. I'm going to sit with this, this discomfort. I'm going to be uncomfortable. I'm not going to change my behavior. I'm not going to do what the anxiety wants me to do because I know if I do that, my brain is going to make the connection. It's very smart, right? It's very smart. It can connect the dots. You guys don't think it can connect the dots? It can connect the dots, and it has been connecting the dots this entire time. So to the person out there who's been running to Dr. Google every time they're anxious, for example, right? You think you're getting away with that. You think your brain's not making the connection. No, your brain is making the connection. Every time the false alarm goes off, I run to Dr. Google. Your brain is connecting the dots. It's being programmed. You can't get away with these things. So, we try to make things as simple to follow here on the channel as possible, and I think that's another very simple way to put it. If you want to show your brain the truth, you've got to stop doing what the anxiety tells you to do, which is going to require facing some discomfort, which is not always the easiest thing in the world. And I think another important side note to make here is that it will take time for the brain to understand and learn these new behaviors, right? So don't quit just because it doesn't get easy right away. Don't quit because you don't see instant results right away. You're going to have to face it and stop doing what the anxiety tells you to do, right? You're going to have to. There's no other way around that. Right? Mint says, but if the alarm has consequences, even if it's a message it's not true, is that really the same? When I'm in a store and I feel gag reflex starting, is it really a good idea to stay and not leave the store? What good does leaving the store do because you've got a gag reflex? Right? So what are the real consequences there? The only real consequences that I can see is living the rest of your life in misery and being bullied by anxiety. That's the only real consequences I can see there. Right? You might say, oh, I might get embarrassed in the store or whatever the case may be. But the only real consequences that I see to doing what the anxiety tells you to do is living your life being bullied, right? Being bullied by that anxiety. Being bullied by that anxiety. That's the real consequences. That is the real consequences to that. So, you have to stop doing what the anxiety tells you to do. You have to, the anxiety is going to make recommendations. It's going to say run to the hills. It's going to say freeze. It's going to say all these different things to you, right? And you have to do the opposite of what the anxiety tells you to do. You have to do the opposite of what anxiety tells you to do. Again, that's not always fun. That's not always comfortable. It's not always a good time. But if you want to start sending new messages to the brain, that's what must be done. Right? That is what must be done. And the choice is always going to be yours to make. Each and every one of you are absolutely capable. I know that for a fact. But you have to prove that to yourself, right? You have to prove that to yourself. So that was the point of today's stream, guys. Just a little stream to kind of say, hey, really start going against what that anxiety wants you to do. You're capable and you're perfectly able to do that. It does take some practice. You can go at your own pace, but keep at it and you will get there. All right, you guys, that was the point of today's stream. That was the point of today's stream. I hope you all enjoyed it. And if you did, make sure you leave a big thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. So we don't get to do morning streams that often, but people love the morning streams, so I definitely wanted to do one today. Had the opportunity, and I took it. Let's see. I'm sure I've missed plenty of comments. We'll get into those. I'm sure I've missed plenty of comments. Let's see. Scroll up just a little bit. Scroll up just a little bit. Let's see. Sounds like a big what if to me, man. Sounds like a big what if. We can what if all day long. What if you drop dead from this? I don't know. We can what if all day long, right? And that's not going to get us anywhere. I say, let's go the route that's going to bring about change rather than avoiding that route over what ifs, right? Let's see. Who we got in chat today? How you doing, Sky? When you are deep in sensitization, it's hard to figure out what is really your coping method, but it's worth to find out and stop it. Yeah, I mean, it can be on the surface, but if you think about it a little bit, it's not hard to put the pieces together, right? Just think about how your behavior changes when you really start to feel anxious. You will find your coping methods and compulsions. You will find that negative behavior. It's really not that hard to spot. I understand what you're saying, though, but it's not that hard to spot. It is not that hard to spot. You got to think on it a little bit. Just kind of ask yourself that question. How does my behaviors change, right? When I start to feel very anxious, you will be able to spot it. You will be able to spot it. Let's see. How you doing, Arnold? Welcome, dude. How you doing, Sean? Good to see you, man. Yeah, the fear is going to be there, APC. The fear is going to be there, but you can still do the opposite of what your anxiety wants you to do, which is the point of this stream. You can still do the opposite of what your anxiety wants you to do, regardless of the fear being there. Dr. Claire Weeks broke it down into first and second fear. So, of course, there's going to be fear symptoms. Of course, there's going to be fear involved. But whether or not you listen to that anxiety and kind of bow to it and start to add the mental fight is really up to you, and that's the habit that we need to break. We call it the accepting attitude and living life, and really this whole stream is about doing the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do, which is living life, right? You're no longer going for those coping methods and compulsions. You're no longer changing your behavior for the anxiety. Let's see. I was really bad off at one point for a long time, but now I'm on the other side, and I can help my son. You were a big part of my recovery. Thank you for that. I really appreciate it. I always say this, but comments like that is the reason we do what we do. I love to see it. I love to see it. I love to see it. Thank you for that comment. I appreciate it. Keep at it. Keep at it. It's always a good day to grow, right? It's always a good day to grow. Let's see. Yeah, so a lot of social fears. What will people think of me? What if this? What if that? Right? I would not delay your recovery for any longer than it needs to be over fear of what other people might think, right? So, and that's just a problem in general for a lot of people, not just necessarily anxiety. A lot of people have this very deep-rooted fear of what others might think, right? So I certainly wouldn't put off your recovery any longer than it needs to be over fear of what people might think. I'll tell you what people might think, right? And here's the truth that not a whole lot of people are ready to hear, but maybe it'll bring you a little bit of relief. What people might think of you, let's say you did act out a little bit, maybe gagged a little bit in a store or something, the most that somebody might think of you, if they even notice to begin with, the most that they might think to themselves is, okay. They're not going to think about the lady that they seen gag in the store for longer than 15, 20 minutes because they don't care about you. Now, that's the truth that a lot of people don't want to hear. If you're worried about what other people might think about you, I'm going to tell you that they don't care about you. You know, we give other people so much power, and I'm guilty of it too. You know, everybody's guilty of it. It's all a mistake that we make. We give so much, other people so much power over what they think about us when really they don't give a shit. They really don't give a shit at the end of the day. To the person that you've seen in public gagging a little bit, they might have 2 sentences worth of thought about that, but it's really not going to affect you nor them at the end of the day. And they're also not going to think about it for very long because they don't know you, therefore they don't really care about you, right? They don't care that some lady in the store might have gagged a little bit. Right? They don't care that some lady in the store might have been acting a bit odd. The worst that will come of it is that they might think to themselves, that's a bit strange, and then they move on with their day, right? Because here's the fact of the matter. People care most about themselves, right? Now that's just the facts. Just because you are here as an overthinker does not mean all the people in public are thinking about you in that way. In fact, like I keep saying, they don't know you, therefore they probably don't even care about you. You are the least, right? You are the least of their concerns. And meant, like you just said, really, if I saw someone do that, I would panic and be grossed out the rest of the day. Well, you did hear what I say, right? Just because you're here as an overthinker does not mean the rest of society works that way, right? So, for example, most people, like if they've seen someone in public gag a little bit, are not going to panic. In fact, it's very odd that people would panic over seeing someone gag. You're here and you feel that way because you're an overthinker, right? And that is why you're here. That is why you found my channel. But most people are not going to be panicking over the sight of someone gagging a little bit. They might think to themselves, well, they probably had a bad lunch. And then they're going to get on with their day because they don't give a shit about you. Right? Now, that's how most of society is going to work. Just because you're here as an overthinker does not mean the rest of society is going to be panicking over the sight of someone gagging a little bit. Right? That's just not normal, right? You're here now because you're an overthinker, so in your world that might be true, but for most of us that is just not how that's going to work. We're just going to move on with our day. It's not a big deal to see someone gag a little bit. And that's something you can work on, right? That's something you can work on, but I'm just telling you that this fear that someone's going to see you gag in public and it's going to ruin their day is just very irrational. It might ruin your day to see someone gag, but most of us, it's not going to bother. Live now. Yes, we are live now. Wolf, what is up, dude? Hey, you finally made a live stream, man. It's good to see you. Good to see you. Hope you're having a great day. Truth says, I'm 99% recovered. I'd love to hear it, Truth. And good to see you. I haven't seen you in a while. The 1% being woke up with IBS. Well, it's good to see you. I'm happy to see you. Let me see. Let me see here. We've missed a lot of comments. How are you doing today, Steph? And I assume everyone would feel like me in that situation. Well, I'm glad you said that, Mint, because it gave me a chance to explain to you that, yes, you are here because you're an overthinker. So you might think that way. You might be extremely bothered by seeing someone gag. But the rest of society probably would not be. In fact, most of us would just say, well, ugh, and move on with our day, right? So I'm glad you made that comment so I could point that out to you. You say... the fire alarms would go off, FBI come running, people screaming and gagging in response, medics putting me in a garbage bag. Yes, welcome to your anxious mind. The rest of society, however, would just move on with their day. So that fear that you have that the world is going to stop turning because somebody seen you gag is just very irrational, and I'm trying to be that rational voice for you since you cannot see that. Um, People were very kind when I got sick in the parking lot. Yeah, like it doesn't bother most people. I understand that you've got some roots that, you know, that sort of thing triggers you. Meant from what I know about you, that sort of thing triggers you. So to you, it's a big deal. To most of us, it is not a big deal. Um, let's see what else we got. Olivia coming in with the, I'm gonna say 53 because PayPal's being weird. $53 tip from Olivia. Thank you so much. I appreciate you. That gets us to typical. That breaks typical. Thank you so much, Olivia. I really appreciate that. You are the best. We are moving on to 124. Wow. 100, that is becoming a mouthful. We are moving on to a 124-day streak. I have totally messed up the typical. What am I doing? Thank you guys so much for that. I really appreciate it. I just wanted to do this morning stream because, like I said, we don't get the opportunity to do morning streams very often. So since we are here, we might as well knock one out. You guys seem to enjoy them. Kevin, how are you doing, dude? Welcome to the stream. I am doing great. Thank you so much, Olivia. Can we please give a huge shout out in the chat to Olivia? Thank you so much. I appreciate you so much. Sanchez, how are you doing, dude? Welcome. Welcome. Yes, thank you again. Thank you again. All right, let's see here. I'm just trying to see if I've missed any comments, maybe. Have I missed any comments? Yeah, show Olivia some love, guys. Show Olivia some love. She's been a huge supporter here on the channel, and I really do appreciate it so very much. Good morning, Mr. Stud Muffin. I mean, that is the root of a lot of anxiety issues, right? Blowing things out of proportion. We're not wanting you to try to fight with that. You don't have to fight with that. You just have to understand that, yes, you're blowing things out of proportion, or yes, you're being irrational. You don't have to fight with the irrationality. Is that a word? You don't have to fight with it. You can just understand that because my anxiety is turned on, I'm being irrational. So that's the accepting attitude part of the equation, right? And then you can choose to do the opposite of what your anxiety wants you to do. So you can train your brain through behaviors, and you can train it to realize that there is no real danger. So we don't put the very difficult, very stressful task on people to try to fight with the irrational side of the anxiety. We just put the task on you to accept that it's there, and then to choose to do the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do, right? So you're training the brain through behaviors. You know, that is your task. So you don't have the impossible task of trying to fight with it. You have the task of accepting it and doing the opposite of what the anxiety wants you to do, so that you can prove to the brain that the anxiety is not needed, right? But, you know, every now and then it does help to have an outside perspective, like me to Mint today, coming and telling you, hey, here's the truth of this situation, right? Every now and then that's okay. Let's see. I don't think I've missed any questions or anything like that. Also, thank you guys for 10.5K. I really appreciate that so much. Thank you. Let's see. Should probably get us some music going. We don't have any music this morning. Do they have morning music? Is that a thing? What would happen if I type in morning music? I get this. Let's see if this is a decent playlist. We got an ad to sit through real quick. There we go. All right, not bad. Not bad, not bad. I could get into it, I think. I could get into it, I think. Yeah, outside perspective does help sometimes. It's good to see things in a different light. Hey, Wonder Bro, I just ordered something for you. Are you talking about the Amazon wish list? You didn't have to do that, dude. I appreciate you. I appreciate you, man. Thank you for that. Thank you, thank you. Thank you for that, Wolf. I even forgot that that existed for quite a while. So I appreciate that. Thank you so much, dude. I'm excited. Thank you, Wolf. Let's give him a shout out in the chat. Thank you for that. Seems I'm projecting my fear onto my surroundings. You definitely are. You definitely are. A lot of people in chat has pretty much backed me up on this one. I'm telling you, seeing someone gag in public would literally mean nothing to me. If you want to go a step further and say seeing someone actually, you know, projectile vomit, I'm just going to say it, projectile vomit in public, the most I would think about that is, damn, that sucks. I hope they feel better. And I would go on about my day. Right? Right? Damn, that sucks. They must have had something bad for lunch. I hope they feel better. Sucks, you know, sucks to be them. And then I would go on about my day. I would not go home and write in my journal, dear journal, today I seen someone projectile vomit in public. It's shaken me to my core. I'm considering taking up a new religion after I witnessed what I witnessed. I have started to study new philosophies. I may even move out of the country after what I have witnessed. This is the beginning of a new chapter in my life, and this is something that will forever be engraved in my brain. And each day, I will wake up and I will think about that person who I seen vomit in public and how they have changed my life dramatically for the rest of my life, right? That is not what I would do. I would say, wow, that really sucks for them, and they probably ate some really bad food, and then I would go home and I would enjoy the rest of my day. That's how that would go. That's how that would go. And I feel like that's how it would go for most people. Oh, chat. Oh, chat. Santa Wolf. Yes, thank you again, dude. I appreciate that. I really do. For the sake of Mint's recovery, we should all go vomit in public. And prove to her how little people actually care about that. I understand it's a trigger for you personally, Mint. But I just want to give you that outside perspective. Absolutely, Mint. Absolutely. Not a problem. It's good to have that outside perspective. You are right. It's good to have people that don't have the same triggers as you explain to you on a rational level how it is just a trigger and that's why it's irrational. It's good to have that. But at this point, even though you've had people who are not triggered by that explain to you that it's just a trigger, that's why it's irrational. Even though you've had that now, there still comes the oh so fun part of facing the fear and teaching your own brain that it's not worthy of the anxiety. Now that's the fun part. That's the part where you have to do the opposite. Like this stream says, you have to do the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do. So that's what you've got to do to prove to the brain that it's not justified. We can tell you it's not justified, but that'll only do so much. Now you've got to do the work. You've got to prove to your own brain that it's not justified. That's, that's the thing about the term reassurance. That's the thing about reassurance. It's okay to have it in little bits, right? It can turn into a compulsion, but it's okay to have a little bit of reassurance. But as long as you follow that up with doing the work, you don't want the reassurance to A, turn into a habit, and you must understand that B, the reassurance then has to be followed with real action if you want your own brain to have a positive impact. That's why when it turns into a habit and there's no action following the reassurance, it just turns into a negative habit and nothing changes, right? Right. So make sure you follow that with some action. Doing the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do. Stop doing what anxiety wants you to do. The whole point of this stream. Do the opposite, man. Be spiteful. Be spiteful. Tell that anxiety to suck it. I'm going to purposely do the opposite of what you want me to do. That's how you teach a brain that the alarm is bullshit, because you're no longer doing what the alarm wants you to do. So of course the anxiety wants you to run for the hills when you feel a bit of gag reflex coming on. So that's what the anxiety wants you to do. And when you do that, you justify the alarm. You train the brain. You literally program the brain. So in order to redo that programming, you got to do the opposite. You got to do the opposite. And, you can apply that to your situation. Everybody else in chat that's watching the stream right now, you can apply that same concept to your situation. I'm going to pull a quote up from a good read here. It goes perfectly in line with everything that we're talking about this morning. So here it goes. Memory of your new unanxious behavior is then hardwired into you. You will not forget it. All memories influence your amygdala, even positive ones. Next time you confront the same triggers, your amygdala will remember that the last time you behaved unanxiously as if there was no threat. Despite 30 years of behaving anxiously. I don't have to raise the alarm as high anymore, right? So you see how this kind of works. You start to prove to the brain that the danger isn't real by not doing what the anxiety wants you to do, and the brain will remember that. But if you continue to do what the anxiety wants you to do, it's going to remember that too, right? Unfortunately, it's going to remember that too. So that's why this whole stream is all about doing the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do, because that's how the brain learns, guys. That's going to require facing discomfort, doing things you're not used to doing. It's going to require all that, but it's worth it, man. It's worth it. That's how the brain learns. Let's read that again. I feel like that's super important. Let's read that again. Memory of your new unanxious behavior is hardwired into you. You will not forget it. All memories influence your amygdala, even the positive ones, right? Next time you confront the triggers, your amygdala will remember that the last time they behaved unanxiously as if there was no threat, despite 30 years of behaving anxiously. I don't have to raise the alarm as high anymore, right? Right? Yeah, you got it, Wolf. You're good. Thank you again for the Amazon wishlist item. I appreciate it, dude. You guys are awesome. And another huge shout out to Olivia for taking us to Tipco all by herself this morning. Let's give a round of applause to these guys. I appreciate it. Thank you guys so much. So, you know, we can go on and on with examples all day long, but just think on it a bit, right? I don't normally tell you guys to think on it, but I want you to think on this one just for a bit. How do you change your behaviors? What are you doing that the anxiety is kind of forcing you to do, or at least it feels like it's forcing you to do? What are you doing? Stop doing that. Do the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do. It's not going to be fun. I ain't going to lie to you. It's not going to be comfortable, but you can be proud of yourself during. You can be proud of yourself during, and it will get easier in time. It will. It will get easier in time. You're capable, man. Every single one of you in this chat are capable, but you have to start doing the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do. Tony just walked into the chat. What's up, Tony? Tony is a perfect example of everything that we're talking about here. My boy Tony, living life and feeling good. You know how he got there? He got there by doing the opposite of what anxiety wanted him to do. He stopped doing what anxiety wanted him to do. He got off Google, he got out of bed, and he started living, right? So next time you're tempted to do something because anxiety wants you to do it, don't. Right? That's the simplest way to put it. Simplest, most straightforward way to put it, just don't. I don't know how else to say that. Just don't. Make yourself do the opposite, man. It might feel like you're having to make yourself. In fact, I mean, you kind of are, right? But it'll become more natural and easier in time. And you gotta get some confidence going. You gotta score some points here. You can start small. You can go out a crawl. I don't care. Just slowly but surely start doing the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do. Start doing the opposite, man. Just to be spiteful. Just to be spiteful. Anxiety says, no, you gotta run, or it's gonna be bad. You gotta run to the couch. Put down those dishes. Run to the couch, right? Well, no, you gotta say, well, I'm not going to do that. Today, I'm not going to do that. I'm putting my foot down. You got to put your foot down at some point, guys. You have got to put your foot down at some point. You have got to put your foot down at some point. And you're going to have to resist doing those little things. You're going to have to resist doing those little coping methods and compulsions, but okay, guys, I'm going to go for a little walk outside alone. 4 years ago, I would think that it wasn't possible anymore. Thank you, Chris. If I can go back working, I will also donate to give it back to you. So first and foremost, congrats, dude. Keep it up. Secondly, do not feel obligated. Do not feel like you have to donate. I'm happy to do it, man. So, but I appreciate it, dude. I appreciate the thought, and I'm so happy for you. Keep it up. That's awesome. Keep it up. You are all awesome, dude. You are all awesome. I love you guys. I love you guys. With every piece of my being, I love you guys. Thank you for the 10.5K. If you're not subscribed already, consider it. We would love to have you around. Thank you for all the likes, all the support, the comments, the shares, the views. Just thank you for everything. The donations, the tips. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. 124-day streak is just absolutely insane. I don't know what else to say besides thank you guys for everything. For everything. I very much appreciate it. I very much appreciate it. You are capable, but you got to prove yourself to yourself. We did an entire stream on that the other day. You got to prove yourself to yourself. How do you deal with that regret? You deal with the regret of how long anxiety took your life from you by making a life for yourself that you never imagined you could have. That'll be so exciting and so good for you that the regret won't stand a chance. How long did it take for you to notice serious change? Everyone's different, so don't put yourself on any time frame where you will self-sabotage. I can promise you that. If you get started truly with doing the opposite of what anxiety wants you to do, what the stream is all about, you'll see the way that I word this, and not everyone is okay with this, but I do it because I don't want you to self-sabotage. I always say you'll see progress sooner rather than later. If I tell you that it took me a month to start feeling better, you might freak out. If I tell you that it took me 2 weeks to start feeling better, you might be like, hell yeah. But then you don't feel better in 2 weeks, or significantly better in 2 weeks, so then you freak out, right? Either way, I'm going to make you freak out if I give you some sort of answer there. So how about we just say this? How about we say, what do you have to lose? Why not get started? You'll see the results. They could come tomorrow. They could come in 15 minutes. I don't know. They could come in 2 weeks. They could come in 2 months. I don't know, right? So I don't like to answer that because either way, the answer will make you freak out. Okay? So I just say, we don't know. Could be tomorrow. Could be 2 weeks. I don't know how many pathways you've got to retrain. But I say, why wait? Why not just go ahead and get started regardless? A lot quicker than you probably imagine. You'll start to see results a lot quicker than you'd probably imagine, I'll tell you that. Acceptance can take the edge off right there in the moment, right? You can get some confidence going right there in the moment. You can start to feel some better emotion right there in the moment. I will say that. Is that Pooty coming in the chat? Pooty, what's up, dude? I think that's Pooty. Yeah, that's Pooty. What's up, my man? How you doing? How you doing? Hope you're doing well, dude. My boy Pooty. My boy Pooty. Guys, I'm getting my life back slowly. Keep accepting no matter what. Always, 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 always. I love to hear it. I love to hear it. Pooty! The Poodster. The Poodster is in the building, guys. Everyone clap. Everyone clap for the Poodster. All right, you beautiful, amazing, awesome. I can't think of the terms for you guys. You're just amazing. All right, we're going to go ahead, start winding this one down here. It's been an awesome morning stream. I'm glad we got to do one. Like I said, we rarely get to do these. So always a good time to do the morning streams. Thank you guys so much for coming out. We're going to back out of this playlist here. Back out of this playlist here. And we're going to get our song ready. You guys deserve it. We're going to get our song ready to go, man. Again, thank you so much to all my supporters out there. I appreciate each and every one of you. I remember when you were worrying Pooty, but then you practiced the advice, and it's been super inspiring. Yes, yes, my boy Pooty. All right, guys, let's get this song going. Let's get this song rolling. I love you guys so much from the very bottom of my heart. Have an amazing day. Do the opposite of what anxiety expects you to do, just to give it a big middle finger from me. All right, I love you guys. Stay awesome. And until next time, I already said stay awesome, but I'll say it again. Stay awesome. I love you.
Whatever you want, I'll be whatever you want. Just tell me you love me or not, whatever it costs. I know I'm talking a lot, there's something I gotta get off. Don't wanna be this no more, I don't wanna drink no more. Always gotta do the most, thinking that I'm insecure. Really should've listened more, but I don't, of course. I'm an asshole, I'm a good guy, I'm your best friend, I'm the worst type. Tell you everything that you heard right, just so I can fuck on the first night. Feel like I'm losing hope, running from coast to coast. I don't know where to go, this all I've ever known. I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. No, did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? I'm a stone cold killer, I'm a billionaire. I got my own gold digger. If I wasn't this way, I'd rather die. Won't die. Did it die? Wait, did it die? Wait, did it die? My aunt think I'm perfect, I know I'm not. My mama be worried, I told her stop. They know I did drugs and think that I'm off. Little do they know I never could stop. My manager hate when I'm pulling up late. Back on my bullshit, she think it's a phase. I got relations I gotta maintain. I'm two different people, my side and my main. Yeah, I'm sober, I'm an addict, I'm a low life, I got habits, but I refuse to be average. Really so tired of acting, don't know what I miss no more. Too bad you don't hit me more. I'm bad when I get too bored, careful what you wishing for. I'm